bigot? Oh, who is this bigot?
The children.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about, right?
Moms have two things dad will never have: tits and human milk good for kids.
You identify as a woman, you can lactate too.
Emotionally damaging.
1 second, let me show you. I can't make this bigger, unfortunately. I don't think I can. Yeah. But this thing right here.
I'm a horrible kid.
I have never heard of a mom using Uber kids from two different men and one of their guys being a felon.
That's not the whole scenario. It doesn't tell me what the judge used to make these decisions.
I'm saying if we grant that the adjudication happened in such a way, so an unbiased court adjudicated that this particular mom lost custody. Like, it has to be anytime she sees the kids, it has to be visited with witnesses. Supervised. That's the word. Thank you. To two different men, one of which was adjudicated as a felon, who she got pregnant by one of the children while he was in jail serving sentence. Yes. Tiffany got knocked up by the felon. The felon was serving time, and while he was serving time, he actually was going to get off early. And he found out when he came out, Tiffany was already pregnant, and there's no possible way it could have been his kid. So she was knocking boots with another dude, and she even lost custody of that kid too. So there's two different children that she lost custody of from two different fathers, one of which was a felon.
And so the fathers have
Sounds like her character.
This was a
so
DCF.
bad.
This is a DCF action.
Yes.
Kids can't be taken away, even if someone called DCF. DCF is the child police.
Right.
So they're the ones that took them away, regardless. It was always DCF that put the charges in.
Initially.
Initially.
Okay.
Right. Go ahead.
Well,
But
I mean,
years later,
you're acting like it's two different incidents and two different failures. I'm saying you're talking about one incident.
Is it one incident?
It's one
That's
incident.
what I said earlier. It was one incident with
Okay.
two children.
Okay. Doesn't get much dumber than that. So for tonight, we are going to review some of the stuff that was said during that panel. And we have a couple of people who are going to be joining us. One of those people is Flow State. If you were able to see, you'll be able to see that he was on that panel with GS. And he was asking all of the right questions. And he was trying to do it from, a perspective of not knowing anything about the situation. He was trying to understand. And GS wasn't able to explain it because everything that he was saying is lies. It's all false. And that would probably explain the reason why you wasn't able to understand it very well, Flo.
Yeah, he didn't. I was trying to be as impartial as possible, right? Because I haven't been there for anything. So, but every time I'd ask questions, I'd basically get the equivalent of an angry "trust me, bro," and eventually I did get blocked that night, all the way out of StreamYard.
I did see you get blocked.
Yeah. So he had enough with my questions, even though I felt like I asked fair questions, I asked reasonable questions, and probably at least half a dozen times I extended the offer to GS to come to my channel, just like Chris did, and tell his side of the story if I'm being biased. So that invitation does stand, GS. You're welcome to come by any time that you'd like to set the record straight. I don't expect he'll take it because I am blocked. I don't think he wants to talk to me, but
that would be a lot of effort. We'd have to probably unblock you and then come over and, try to explain things from.
He'll be asked questions.
provide maybe a few receipts. I don't know, instead of just some videos, which is what
Not
he's
even
really good
videos
at.
that were on point, and that was part of the issue that ultimately blew the whole thing up. Is I said what I just told you. I said, Chris gives me receipts for shit that I didn't ask for. I didn't even ask him, and he's sending me receipts. I said, when I ask you for receipts, I don't ever get anything. And so he started pulling up videos that really demonstrated absolutely nothing he was talking about the whole time. So
yeah, he's really good at that. So we have 4 PS here to help us go over these documents that I'm going to be bringing up. Do we have it so we can bring them up?
Hi, baby. I'm here.
Hey.
What's up, everybody?
Oh, her.
Hey, baby Flo. What are you doing?
I thought you weren't going to call me that in public.
Well, I mean, deals are meant to be broken. Like, I'm gonna need more money. we're gonna have to go up with a better grift, bro.
I thought you were the one paying me. We're just extorting each other. It's just circular extortion.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm tired of being the one to pay. Like, I think I'm worth more than the way I'm being treated. And if I'm gonna call you babe, you're gonna have to pay me, bro.
All right, official misconduct. I'm gonna need some more money out of you because my expenses have gone up, so have yours.
Well, speaking of that, let's start a grift, shall we? Shall we start a grift? I know a lot of people on YouTube have been grifting lately. We actually have a grift that we need to present. And, of course, grifts are always optional to whoever can afford it. But as you know, this channel is mine and Tiffany's only monetization that we have left in the world. We were not expecting to go broke. We are trying to keep our horses. We are not going to do a charity. We're not going to do a fundraiser. We're just going to say it's a monthly expense that we're having a tough time with. Tiffany's got 2 horses of her own. She does not want to sell them. So I told her the only way we're going to be able to keep them and not sell them is if we're making enough money from YouTube to be able to pay the boarding for the horses in the time being before we can move them to our property. That being said, each week, Tiffany and I are both going to partake in a live stream. And during the live stream, we are going to set one goal for those who wish to help. And that goal is going to be each live stream. We're going to try to raise $200 through the goal stream. So Nikki is going to set a goal for this entire live stream for, I think it's 20 $10 super chats. And that's what we're going to try to achieve. And if we can do that, we can keep our horses. So
if not, they turn them into glue, right?
No, we're not going to do that to them. We would probably end up having to sell them to the Amish that are where. Well, I don't want to say too much. A lot of people have tried to find. Thank you, Ripper Jack. I appreciate that very much. All the
Chris,
super chat stuff.
I cannot set the goal. Tiffany will have to go into YouTube and set it herself.
Oh, okay. Well, while she's doing that, let's talk about what we got
There
going
was
on
2
here.
others also, Chris.
I'm sorry?
There were 2 more before that.
Bill M gifted 10 official misconduct memberships.
Holy smokes. Thank you, Bill Him. You're amazing.
Snap Bays did the $5 for the grift. And of course, Steve with Diesel.
Steve is worried we're not going to have Diesel. Steve, Diesel ain't going nowhere, buddy. You take so good care of him financially. Thank you, Steve.
Is that one of the horses?
No, Diesel's the dog.
Oh, okay.
Steve really don't care.
Asking what kind of horses.
Well, we have 2 Tennessee Walkers. We have a thoroughbred, and we have a quarter horse. We sold our Arabian last year to pay for our
rest of the. What happened to the rest of the horse? That quarter horse.
Oh, what happened to the rest of the quarter?
Yeah. No, I'm done.
And before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and say thank you to everyone for joining Tiffany tonight. We really appreciate it. I know she really appreciates it.
Yes, I do.
Can we send you an e-collar and give Nikki the collar remote? Just teasing.
We've got a hell of a show here for you all. This whole thing has been circulating YouTube about Tiffany for a really long time, and it's time we put a stop to it. We have let misinformation go rampant with these idiots. Holy crap, Odin with the Norwegian $200, not $2, $200 Norwegian dollars from Odin, Tiff.
Thank you, Odin.
We love you, Odin. Thank you, buddy.
Yes, thank you.
I'm
multitasking. I can't do it very well. I'm struggling over here.
And Diesel's in here saying hi. I don't know if y'all can hear him in the background. He's saying hi to you, Steve. But we've let this misinformation circulate YouTube for a while amongst this group of morons because we don't want to talk about the kids. Like, I don't know, like, if they're just trying to promote talking about children on YouTube, or if it's specifically trying to drag Tiff's kids into it. But YouTube is not a platform.
Scotto just gave 20 official MissConduct memberships. Thank you,
Awesome,
Scotto.
Thank you. If we keep this up, Tiff, we're not going to have to sell them. We're trying, you all. Thank you so much for the help with that. But no, we've let this whole thing go on because we do not want to drag the kids into it. So,
Gregory Hupp, $10 for the grift.
Thank you for that grift, Gregory. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Gregory.
And we've decided that we believe we found a way to speak of the case without talking about the kids. So if you're here expecting us to expose Tiffany's children to YouTube, you can go ahead and leave now, because it's not going to happen. What we will do, though, is we will dispel some of this ridiculous misinformation, in which we know where it's coming from. It's coming from Tiffany's ex-husband, but it's getting plastered all over YouTube by channels like Generally Specific and Christopher Ruff. It was all over Fraud Wrangler, but as you all know, Fraud Wrangler is in prison, so we don't have to worry about him putting it out anymore.
He's on a staycation.
Yeah, staycation. He's getting bed and breakfast. Where he belongs.
Enjoy those honey buns.
Yes, sir. He's had this coming for a long time too, you know.
You should put money on his books. Just put like $5 on his books. Say the next honey buns on you.
I should go there and buy him some honey buns when we serve him the slander suit.
All right.
You know what I could do is I could put like whatever he said that my last pay scale was, you know, while I've been working out behind the dumpster, I can put that on his books. Be like, I wanted to give you an hour of my time.
Did he say that was what, $2?
Yeah,
well,
so that's all I get.
I made it up to like 3 something, I think, maybe even 5. But
it costs more than that to add money to the books.
Well, he'll have to, you know, stay there a little longer, I guess, until we can come up with enough, you know, so we can come up with enough to buy him a fucking honey bun.
I just got a cash app from Marky, who says, for the horses, get it to them. So I got $10 for you.
Oh, you're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
Kev Factor through 5 and Claire through 5. Y'all are amazing. So Tiff's working on trying to get the goal set up, but apparently we're going to do this without the goal. So
that's good, because I can't figure out how to do it.
Guys, I'm still trying to teach Tiff the ropes, and I'm not much of a teacher because I barely had much time using StreamYards myself. So bear with us on all the technological mistakes we're going to make along the way.
Yeah, you just have to go over to the YouTube side, logged into the account that's logged into official MissConduct, and at the top of the live chat, there's going to be a little target icon.
Oh, okay.
In other words, you got to open your YouTube, Tiff. You're in StreamYard.
I'm using my phone.
Okay, just make sure that your phone is muted so that you don't have an echo.
It is.
So the meat and potatoes, while she's doing that, guys, the meat and potatoes is that put a 1 in chat if you have heard the rumor that Tiffany lost her children to the state. Put a 1 in the chat if that's what you've heard. 2 in the chat if that is not what you heard. That Tiffany lost her children to the state.
And Stumblefoot News, thank you for the $20. There's too many people trying to make a name for themselves off of Chris and Tiff. People can be bottom feeders.
Absolutely. I've got a live stream coming up on that. And thank you so much for the donation. I've got a live stream on my channel going to be coming out soon about that. YouTube's new biggest grift is defamation. So we're going to be talking about that in a separate stream on my channel. R. Allen with $10, so the horses don't end up at a Japanese steakhouse.
Thank you guys so very much.
But yeah, so a lot of ones flew because that was the false information that was being spread, is that Tiffany lost her children to Department of Child Services. That is not even true. Like, that's not even true. There's been so many lies floating around. And even the basis of it all is not true. And we're going to provide receipts to you today. But first, what we're going to do, Flow State was over on Todd's channel, as you saw a little clip of in the intro the other day. And Flo, knowing nothing about this case whatsoever, at least to the best of my knowledge, Flo, did you know anything about Tiff and the kids?
No, I don't.
Until you went to Todd's channel the other day.
Correct.
And they were on there doing this panel, like trying to convince Flo of all these quote unquote facts about Tiffany and her kids. And I just happened to run across it because somebody sent me a link as usual and said, hey, they're over there, bashing Tiffany and blah, blah, blah. So I checked it out and I see Flo up there. And what I see is Todd has his mob with like Brick and who's that other idiot? Killamilla and Rats to the Moon. And they're all working their asses off to try to convince Flo that what they were saying about Tiffany was true and correct, that she's a piece of shit, lost her kids to the state, was cheating on her husband and all this stuff. And Flo is just sitting there asking normal questions to try to understand how they have this knowledge and breaking it down, whether or not what they were saying could even be true, given the circumstances that they were offering. And it was pissing Todd off so bad that he ended up booting Flo off of the panel ultimately. But Flo has prepared us. He's made a video that we're going to link in the description of this, and then we're going to provide it to you in one way or another at the end of this. But the video is the panel from the other night that he has. Right, Flo?
Correct. It's just a chunk out of the. So Todd put his into the stream on members only, but I was also streaming to my side, and so I was able to salvage the whole time I was there. But yeah, this is just about 6 minutes out of my whole interaction with him.
So he was pretty much trying to hide that he was embarrassed by not having the facts and getting called out on it by a completely non-biased person who knew nothing of the situation, which is that easy.
I'm a little bit biased on your side, but my questions were not biased.
Well, I feel like to Tiffany though, like you didn't know anything about the kids situation.
Yeah, no, I knew nothing about that.
So as far as that went, like that portion of the conversation. So Nikki just brought up a clip out of Flo's upcoming video, and we're going to watch that and let Tiffany break it down with the facts.
Before we get into the video real quick, I want to tell that Jacqueline O, thank you very much. $9.99 super sticker.
And I got Plumpy with $2 says gay thug love. I'm not gay, but and then Chuck with $10 says on behalf of Todd and Brick for the glue factory.
Man, I feel bad that the horses have to hear this, but everybody at the same time is helping save them to not go to a different home. We very much appreciate that, y'all.
Steve, I'll be fine. Thank you for checking, though. I appreciate it.
Well, whenever you're ready, Tiff, I guess Nikki can play the video, huh?
I have never heard of a mom losing 2 of her kids from 2 different men and one of the guys being a felon.
What do you
Can
got
we
against
engage that?
felons? What do you got against felons?
That's a redirect. That's a deflect. Let's engage the
That is-
premise.
Okay.
Is that's kind of an anomalous, isn't it? That's pretty.
What are the circumstances? It's in a vacuum. He's giving it to me in a vacuum, and just because he's never heard of it doesn't. I've never heard of doesn't mean anything. I have heard of it.
Okay,
But-
let's say in fact that this is the exact scenario. How commonplace do you think that is?
That's not the whole scenario. It doesn't tell me what the judge used to make these
I'm
decisions.
saying if we grant that the adjudication happened in such a way, let's say the judge was fair and impartial, like you claimed the courts are, even though you also said it's an injustice system.
I did.
Kind of.
You got to stop putting words in my mouth.
Will you
I said
pause
it's
it, Nikki?
not
Sorry, then.
prioritizing either parent. The courts do not prioritize.
Right there's the first problem. Todd says, hey, you have to grant this non-fact for my narrative to work. Because that didn't happen. What he
Correct.
offered. Okay, I just wanted to point that out.
As either parent.
Okay,
I didn't say they're
an
great at making decisions.
okay.
I disagree.
And
So an unbiased court adjudicated that this particular mom lost custody. Like, it has to be anytime she sees the kids, it has to be visitated with witnesses.
Supervised.
Let's pause it
That's the
there.
word. Thank you.
Hey, Tiff.
Hmm.
Is your visitation always supervised? Or do we even call it visitation? Or do we call it your time with your kids? Is it supervised?
With one of my children, it still is. With the other child, it is not.
So is that because DCS is making sure that your visits are supervised?
No.
Oh, so, okay. So Todd has that wrong too.
Right.
Okay.
To two different men, one of which was adjudicated as a felon, who she got pregnant by one of the children while he was in jail serving a sentence.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so Tiffany got knocked up by the felon. The felon was serving time, and while he was serving time, he actually was going to get off early, and he found out when he came out, he found out Tiffany was already pregnant, and there's no possible way it could have been his kid.
All right.
He was
Pause again.
knocking boots with another dude, and she.
Flo, when you heard that and you said, wait, what? Were you saying, wait, what? Because you couldn't believe that what he was offering about Tiffany could be so heinous? Or were you saying, wait, what? Can you explain that better? Like, what did you?
Yeah. So I'm not a biologist, but when you say that someone got pregnant with a man's child while that man was in jail, I don't know how that is possible. Doesn't he need to be present for it?
Well, so he had the facts so screwed up. And maybe Tiffany can help us understand this a little bit better. Hey, Tiff, you want to tell us how when exactly was your breakup with Billy? And let's answer this first.
Mm-hmm.
Is the other dad a felon?
No.
Oh, so he's not, even though Todd suggested that it was a felon that you made another child with. But the first one, is he a felon?
Yes.
Okay, so dad number one is a felon.
Correct.
And while dad number one was in jail, were you all together?
Me and baby daddy one?
Correct.
No. And I'm still trying to comprehend why he thinks or thought that we were together, because I turned state's evidence against him. That's the reason he was in prison to begin with. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but if somebody turns state's evidence on me, I'm not going to assume that we're still together. That's just, I don't know,
In
that's
other
just-
words, you clearly had enough of him and were broken up with him by the time he got convicted and went to prison.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, should any reasonable person have thought that?
I wouldn't think so. And I mean, I still have all the letters that he wrote me. And even in one of the letters, he says, write me back. I know your hand's not broken. Well, no, it's not broken. You know, I'm here, you know, working every day. It's not broken. I'm just not writing you back. I talked to him whenever he would call and ask about our daughter. Other than that, I had nothing to say to him.
But he clearly knew you were broke up, right? I mean, hell, you're the one that helped the police convict him because, I mean, it's not your fault. I guess we can kind of say a little bit about the situation. Am I right?
Minimal, probably.
All right. Let's keep it real minimal, like what's on record. The guy was he's a thief. Okay. Maybe not now, but then he was. He might be now. I don't know. I don't care. But he was then for sure. And he was breaking into, amongst many other places, there was one that the police really did not like him breaking into because it was their facility.
Was it an impound lot or what?
It was where they store their boats and stuff.
It wasn't their facility. It was a facility that they all used.
They leased it to park their stuff out there. And that being said, that's enough for you to all conclude that the police are going to do their job when they got some thief out there robbing their equipment. So they did their job. They had the case solved, and they knock on, at the time, Tiffany's door, and they say, he's busted. We know he's the one doing it. What was your options from there, Tiff? And where were you along with the pregnancy?
Oh, I was huge at that point. They didn't give me any options, really. They just sort of told me they knew it was him, and they asked what I knew about it. So I told them everything that I knew about it. I went in, and the officer that I sat down with and wrote out my report, he still works for an agency, but not the agency that he was at the time. So I went in, I wrote down my report, I signed it, and, you know, that was my sworn testimony in front of an officer that they used. So
why did you testify against him? Like, did they threaten you, or were you done with him, or like
the relationship was over. I had worked really hard to get to the point where I was. I was, you know, getting myself completely sorted out because I was having a kid. You know, I was pregnant with our daughter, and I had some lifestyle changes that I had to make too. I wasn't perfect. I'm never claiming that I was perfect. So I was in the process of doing that, and this was still an ongoing issue. You know, they regularly reached out to me, and it was just something that had to be done.
Did you ask Billy to stop and to shape up for your all's kid?
A couple of times I did.
Did you give him opportunities?
Well, I couldn't give him any opportunities because I had to go stay with my dad. At that point, whenever I moved in with my dad, it was just done.
Your relationship was done?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, so he still somehow thought, 6 months later that you were still in a relationship while he's in jail? So he knew that your relationship had been done for months.
A couple of months at least, yeah.
Hang on just a second here. James, with no last name. If you're talking about official misconduct, that's who you need to say rather than, I assume you're trying to say of miss safety. But
well, you can intermingle us if you want. We just don't have a channel that combines it like that.
Yeah, I will be able to read, you know, your rude comments a lot better if you type them out in English. I speak English. So Be better.
Well, they're not even worth if it's trolling, don't even worry about it. It's not worth responding to. Let's stick with the subject. So William knew that he had fucked up to the point in which not only were you done with the relationship, but you even moved back in with your dad, and then turned him in with the state. Like, now he was already caught, so it's not like you went and snitched him out.
Right. That's one thing that I want to answer is James is saying, maybe James thinks that he knows our situation, says cops had no evidence on him, so you narked him out.
No, they did. They had all the evidence.
Because I wasn't the only one that wrote a sworn witness testimony. Yeah, there were.
They didn't need witnesses. They actually had the stuff that he had stolen, and they knew it was him. They knew they wouldn't have been able to pinpoint their house if they didn't know who it was. But it did make it easier on the prosecution, sure. But listen, if you're pregnant, like I can't be pregnant, but I can imagine the situation. If you're pregnant and you're about to have a kid with this dude and you're saying, straighten up, stop fucking up. We got a kid on the way. It's time to grow up. And then this person goes out and robs the damn police and gets caught. If you're done, you're done. That's the way I see it. And if you can't handle that, well, then you're in the wrong, you're not in their shoes. So, figure out what you would do then. But the point is this. The lies that he's spreading on YouTube are lies. They were not a couple when he was in jail. That's huge. They were not a couple when he was in jail. Tiffany was single. So
you know that when you're in jail and you're not getting letters back, yeah.
Yeah, I still have the letters. I'll happily send you that one here in a bit so you can see it for yourself.
Oh, I believe you.
I hung on to the letters because I thought that, it's not because I wanted them, but it's one of those things that I'm putting in a box for
just in case
our kiddo later on.
Yeah, somewhere I've got a whole box of letters from when I was in jail.
So the notion that he's out there spreading is this poor me, she cheated on me while I was in jail and made another baby with a whole different guy. And apparently he's calling the other guy a felon. Not true. He's the only felon in the story. And he was not cheated on. Sometimes people just have a hard time understanding that when they act like that and they are not productive members of society, the people around them sometimes say, fuck you, and give up on you. And then those types of people refuse to accept accountability for their own actions. Therefore, they lie about it. And I think that's what we got going on here. And what's gross to me is that you got people like Todd who not only eat it up, but it doesn't even make sense the way they've eaten it up. And then they're vomiting back out using their YouTube platforms to do it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And Jammo, the format of this live stream is actually where OMC is basically going to be able to explain how some of these wrong things are being spread about her and at least get her side of the truth out there. So let's go ahead and get back to the video.
Even lost custody of that kid too. So there's two different children that she lost custody of from two different fathers, one of which was a felon that she was cheating on.
So it sounds like the fathers had nothing to do with it. The way you just described it, it sounds like this was okay. So the fathers have
sounds like her character.
This was a
so
DCF.
bad.
This was a DCF action.
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
I don't know that it was DCF, but it was adjudicated by a court.
Well, it would have to be DCF if it
judges
wasn't the fathers.
Well, do you think that the Child Protective Services could just automatically give custody and it would never go to court?
No, you misunderstand, GS. Like the kids can't be taken away. Even if someone called DCF is the child police.
Right.
So they're the ones that took them away, regardless. It was always DCF that put the charges against that person.
Initially.
Yeah, initially.
Okay.
Right. Go ahead.
Well,
But
I mean,
years later,
you're
still
acting like
had
you're acting
consequences.
like it's two different incidents and two different failures. I'm saying you're talking about one incident.
Is it one incident?
It's one
That's
incident.
what I said
yes.
earlier. It was one incident with
Okay.
2 children.
Mhm.
Two children from two different fathers.
That's
So-
that's immaterial.
No. If you look at the metrics of how women are often awarded
Holy
priority custody, well, we just demonstrated some of these things, and you just want to shit on our data, and you want to
No,
say
I'm
that
shitting on I'm shitting on your data
your-
processing.
No, but
this is-
your trust.
this
your
isn't a
trust
case of-
pro university argumentative nature is not really winning.
I would just roll the tape personally.
What tape? This one right here.
Yeah, just go back to the video.
See, I don't want to keep arguing the same. I mean, look at dude. I mean, you're being evasive for a reason. I mean,
How am I being evasive? I'm actually directly addressing the situation.
no, but you're really sugarcoating it for one side.
You're
I mean,
asking me. You're saying if we grant that everybody did everything right except for the mom, then
Mhm.
did everybody do everything right except for the mom? Then did the mom?
No, I never
Sure, if
said
you
the
wanna
mom
frame
did
it up
anything
that way.
wrong. I never said the mom did anything wrong. I saying that it was adjudicated that she lost custody of 2 children from 2 different fathers, one of which was a felon.
You didn't ask me to consider that the courts were fair and unbiased and did things right.
Just dude, go to fucking Hollywood and bet on those odds. You'd be a fucking millionaire if you land.
Sorry
got a
for
question.
clarifying the situation.
No. I got
I
a question.
spent 25 grand in family court.
Mhm.
They don't favor either side.
And I've been through
I
one
disagree.
divorce and 2 custody battles, and they don't favor either side.
Right. So you're
Nope.
saying if they don't favor either side
Mhm.
and the mom lost and has to have supervised
Because
visits,
this
what-
is not
what
the
does
same.
that say about the mom?
Oh my god. Okay, the parents fighting over custody
Yeah.
is different from the state removing custody from one parent. So when
Okay.
we're looking at a
so-
situation
okay,
where they
all right,
remove
hold on,
custody,
hold on.
No, it's a factor.
Yeah, it's a factor. But when you're talking about now, when you do get visitation, it has to be supervised. What the fuck's going on there?
There could be drugs involved. There could be abuse involved. There could be neglect involved.
Right.
it
So what
could
I'm
be
saying
crooked county
is,
officials. It could be anything. We don't know.
Correct.
could be the
Correct.
Yeah, we do know.
Okay, the
But
imposters.
anyway,
I would
Well,
just
what
go
do we?
back to
If
the
we know,
video.
then why are you asking me the question?
No. I'm asking you to be objective. And it seems to me like you want to be impartial and be milly mouth with admitting that by the metrics, by the numbers, by the
Billy
average,
Mouth.
in general, right? In general, these things are anomalous, very anomalous.
I have to say, I must live in the weirdest state then in the continental U.S.
Actually,
because
so I know Florida. I'm from Florida.
Is it out?
because
Is it
in
Louisiana?
Florida, women usually get custody.
Yes, they usually do. Most, I think, in the whole country, that is not
Men do
causal.
not fight for
Correct.
custody.
The original argument is that mothers tend to usually get custody, and it is really odd whenever men gain custody after the mother had them.
Damn, Flo, didn't you know that what Todd was telling you that you had to do was just agree with the non-factual parts that he wanted you to agree with?
He's known me too long to think that that's just going to fly.
You just need to nod your head yes and be like, okay.
Did
There is
I hear,
there is no excuse for him to think that that's going to work.
did I hear him right when he said you could bet all your money that a judge was going to be always fair and non-partial?
He was moving it back and forth. He said at first he wanted, for the sake of argument, he wanted me to concede that the courts were fair and impartial. And then he shifted because he referred back to an earlier part in the conversation where we were talking about whether or not family's court is fair. So the way that he framed this up initially is that the courts took TIF kids and gave them to the dads, even though courts are biased against dads. That's how he had framed it. And so I was where I don't know y'all's story about this, but where I do know is family court. I've been in 2 custody battles. I've been divorced, and I can say that all the whole narrative around whether or not family court favors moms over dads, it's a lot of hogwash. It's, in my experience, they've been actually very, very balanced between parents because their priority is the child. It's not either parent.
Right. Well, it doesn't mean that all courts are going to be perfect or non-biased or impartial either. So, you
Correct.
know, Todd just needed a narrative to stick. He needed you to say, you know, that Tiffany's court case with the, actually, that's another, before I get to that, I want to break something else down. You made it very clear that you understood that DCS action is different than family court action.
Correct.
He didn't seem to want to allow his crowd to see that he had to have known that.
So that's another line that he was blurring. What he was trying to say, I think, is that there's a DCF action, right, that removed kids. That's a thing. But then he was also trying to double dip and say that individually each dad had beat Tiff. But it's not an individual action if it's a DCF action.
Bingo. So he's trying to mix to put a one in chat if y'all understand that Department of Child Services removal of children is its own thing. It has nothing to do with the back and forth in custody between 2 parents.
Correct.
You want to read that, Tiff?
Says, why in the hell is GS even discussing Tiffany's children's custody? He has no horse in the race. He is violating the children's rights to privacy.
Thank you, Jamo. Exactly. And that is what a lot of us on YouTube have been screaming for him to respect. And he will not. And neither will Ruff, and neither did Kaiser, you know, and that's the position that I think the father needs to quit putting Tiff's 2 children through. And that's why we don't talk much about it, because we refuse to react to that attempt that they're making to put Tiff's kids on blast. We're not going to do that. We're not doing it in this panel. You're going to see how we are keeping that line divide with this. We're being very careful.
A question that I had, but I didn't ask him specifically for that reason. I felt like it's in bad taste to bring his into it, and so I was not trying to refocus on the kids. But I don't see how Todd would be in a position to have accurate revelatory information, and so that's sort of what I was alluding to later in the conversation when I'm saying, "Hey, you don't give me any receipts," right? That was really me trying to ask, like, how the hell do you have the knowledge that you claim to have? Still never got.
Well, I'll tell you where he's getting his information from is Billy, Tiffany's ex-husband, the liar that went to prison and is angry about life. That's and we have a protective order against him, so I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to interfere with that. We need it. We need the protection order against this guy because obviously you see what he's doing. He can't leave us alone. He won't leave Tiffany alone. So he is the one that's come to YouTube and that's going behind the scenes with all these other channel operators. It's him. Matter of fact, he was just proven to have been doing it in court recently, and that's a subject that I'm not going to talk about on YouTube other than that.
Well,
but that's where the misinformation, I should say, is coming from. However, you would think that as a parent of one of the children that he would want to respect his own daughter's privacy and not bring it to YouTube. Am I right?
You know, I can't speak to any of that. All I'll say is that go ahead. Yeah, no.
I was just going to say, you know, the concept that somebody would not want to drag their own kid into a situation publicly, it's just mind-blowing, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know what? And if GS had actually given that answer, it would have been a lot more credible, but I guess I don't know. I don't know why he wouldn't say that. Actually, now that I think about it, why wouldn't he just tell me that this is how he knows things?
Probably, Flo, because you don't know about how much of that's already came out within the YouTube world, and everyone knows that all Billy has done on YouTube is lie about Tiffany and I. So that's probably, he didn't want you to dig on that subject because there's plenty of receipts out there.
Well, I tend to have to say I agree with Snap Phase. You know, when little boys pick on one girl, it's usually because they are in love with them. So, Chris, from what everybody is doing, it looks like you've got a lot of competition out there.
I don't though,
Sorry.
Nikki. I have no competition because here's the thing. Tiff made her choice a long time ago to leave that one. You know what I'm saying? Like he needs to accept. I look, I'm a big boy. I've been broken up with by pretty girls. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta fucking accept it and move on and quit being a stalker and a nut job. You just move on. Flo, have you ever been broke up with?
Yes.
Did you deal with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. You take your dignity and then you go on.
It's that easy.
It's
Some
that
people
easy.
can't do it.
And maybe let me rephrase it. It's that simple.
So it didn't take you
Things can be
7 years to cope?
No, it took me about a day.
Wow. Okay.
Well, Tiffany's ex is on his 13th or 14th year now, Tiff? Is that about right?
I was just only thinking back to when I filed for divorce. So, see, that would have been
But we've long established that your relationship was over way before your actual divorce, correct?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I didn't know how to serve papers to somebody who was locked up. So I had to wait till he got out.
Really?
And I was the one that was the petitioner. I have heard this lie going around that he divorced me. No, I divorced him. That's the reason why in our, domestic relations case, it has me listed as the petitioner. I was the one that filed those papers. So I want to go ahead and get that cleared up because that's an easy one to clear up.
I'm surprised they didn't tell you they could serve him if he's in custody. That should be the easiest place to serve someone.
Well, he was up north, and I didn't even file until he was out.
And another thing, Flo, when Tiff and I say that we didn't know a damn thing about the law before we started these channels, that's what we mean. Like we were both like most of the people in this genre are miles ahead of where we started when we started our channels.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we just kind of thought, hey, court's a process where you go in and tell what's going on and they choose the right thing. Like that's how dumb we were to it.
Right.
I knew that we would be sharing, our learning experience also, but I just didn't know how huge that learning experience is actually going to be.
Yeah. It's been
when you learn about the law through trial and error, that's a hell of a time.
Yep. And doing it in front of everybody. So
let's talk about the truth behind, or at least the facts behind the separation between family courts and DCS action. We've brought some receipts for you all today. I don't think we've ever talked about these receipts in any form of live stream or anything like that. We just let the bullshit flow around. No offense, Flo.
Shout out.
No pun.
ATL says, I thought divorce was automatic when one party goes to jail.
Well, it wasn't in this case. There was a lot of mistakes made. So Todd would be very wrong when he said that the judge did the right thing, because the judge in that case did not do the right thing. As a matter of fact, bias was exactly what he was found. The family court judge had information from the DCS case, and he's not supposed to do that. The judge was not supposed to sit in both the DCS action as well as the family court action, which is what we're dealing with at this point now when it comes to the one family court here, because there's 2 kids, 2 cases. Okay. When we're talking about just the one case, what we're saying here is that the DCS judge, was he the judge or recused to become the judge, Tiff?
Okay. So let me go ahead and put this out there. One thing, in order for people to be able to understand how the court process works here in Indiana, as far as, custody and then DCS and then appeals. So anytime that there is a custody case going on and DCS steps in, they file their documentation with the court. So what that does is it basically puts a hold on custody court until, they make a decision in the DCS case.
Okay, wait. So you're saying that the DCS case it proceeds and is separate from the family court, and when a DCS case is filed, it puts a hold on the family courts.
Yes, it takes over jurisdiction. So that is the active case at the time. I mean, they can do small tweaks in custody court, like if they need to change child support or something like that, they can do that.
All right.
Sorry,
well, we won't
Tiff.
complicate it.
Sorry, Tiff. Angry Vet, I thought you blew your wad last week, but that's okay. We'll let you blow your wad this time too. Thank you very much.
Holy smokes, Tab.
To piss off the haters, like Direct Dookie, generally went plot it, Box of Bricks, Let's Hug Some Nuts, Rats, G-Faz, Gravy Girl, Benghazi Rabbit, K-Fart, Uncle Farty, Dark, we'll just say Dark, yeah. And the list goes on and on. Donate that $1, save a horse.
Save a horse money. Thank you so much, Tav. Damn, man. You really go out of your way to be charitable, my brother.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't want to overcomplicate it, but I want people to understand that, yes, I was going through custody court with both of the fathers. Right. Once the DCS case was introduced into court, that case took, jurisdiction, took precedent. So everything's focused on that. While we were still having custody hearings, the DCS case is what took precedence as far as, or jurisdiction, as far as making big decisions. Okay. So I had to wait. Everybody had to wait until DCS, a decision had been made within that case. And then it goes back down to the child custody court and they accept the decision that was made. And then it goes on to the docket and put in record.
All right. So let's rewind back to the part where you said that DCS got involved and put a hold on the custody cases that were already ongoing. Am I right? That's what you said,
it's an
right?
automatic stay.
Okay. So DCS at that time was its own case, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And it took precedence over anything. Am I right?
Correct.
Okay. Now let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
Who had custody of both children before DCS?
I did.
Okay. Now, Tiffany, for some people, they have a hard time understanding. In Indiana, are you able to, whether it be divorce court or, after you're divorced and you're modifying custody, are you able to have those type of cases without DCS involvement?
Yes. So you can have a custody court hearing. It's basically just a civil court hearing where you are going in to decide where the child's going to be staying, if there's going to be child support, basically putting everything on black and white paper, defining what each parent's role is within that child's life.
Right.
Because
that's the separation.
An agreement.
That's the separation of the two cases. Let's stay on target with this. I want you to utilize this channel like you do, Tiff, and talk about all this stuff in live streams as much as you can, because a lot of people need to understand these family courts things, right, about kids and custody. In this, what we are talking about is people are confused about how the children were taken from you. So let's focus on this, because a lot of people have questions. I had questions when I met you because you had just lost custody. It looked like, that's what I thought. I thought when I met her that she had just lost custody of her two kids, but I was wrong. what I learned was, and Tiff, you can correct me all you want, she was going through a brand new Department of Child Services case in which there were multiple ridiculously crazy allegations that had just been made against her. And it looked like Department of Child Services just jumped and off of these allegations alone and just ripped your kids away temporarily, right?
Yeah, so whenever they came in, I don't even know for sure how many false reports they had received into that agency. But it was this set of reports where they came in, they removed my children. They did not even have a warrant yet. That's how quickly they ended up doing it. And they had absolutely no evidence. So,
well, I can't believe that. You're going to have to show receipts. If you're going to sit up here on this panel, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds with $50 says, from Peanut with lots of love. Have a great stream. Talk to you soon. I can't believe you have to leave us, Lucy. We love you. Thank you so much. And I guess we'll catch you on the next stream. She probably has to go to work.
I hope you have an amazing trip. Thank you so very much.
If you're going to sit here, Tiff, and I needed this when I met you. If you're going to sit here and you're going to say that they removed your kids without any facts to the allegations, then don't you think we ought to ask Nikki to show the receipts on that?
For sure. That is a huge statement for a person to make without having any proof to back it up. So, Nikki, if you want to pull up the state of Indiana Court of Appeals decision.
Now, Tiff, while she's doing that, explain this to us. I'm asking because I've already asked these questions, and this is how I figured it all out when I met Tiffany. So you were going through a process with Department of Child Services, which was a short window in which they intervened into you and your children's life based on a handful of really crazy allegations, right? And that was a temporary thing. But in the background, like way before I met you, you were already going through 2 separate custody battles in family courts, but you were the custodial parent in both of those cases, correct?
Correct.
All right. And then DCS comes in with their own case and they pull your kids during it, right?
Correct.
All right. And then you went through the court process with DCS, correct?
Correct. So one other thing that I need to explain before we look at this is whenever DCS filed their original complaint with the courts against me, which is that complaint is what this appeal is based on. It was an original complaint, one complaint that had both of my children listed. So that would be the original jurisdiction. That's what you would say is original jurisdiction. So on the original jurisdiction of the DCS case, both of my children were listed on one complaint together. And that complaint is, ultimately the one that you're going to see this appeal for. It does state only one child on this appeal.
But it's the only case they had against her. Look, I wish that Tiffany and I were recording and publishing when we had the meeting with DCS the day that they dropped the other child off of this thing. Because if you think you've seen some crazy, shocking shit on For Public Safety channel, you have not seen nothing if we had recorded that. Because you want to talk about some people in government doing some stupid, harmful things. That's exactly what they did to Tiff's daughter. They dropped her off of this case. And I wish we had that meeting recorded.
So this question that I'm seeing, didn't she sign the children over at some point?
How about we not answer that yet? Let's walk through. We're getting to that.
Backtrack.
Yeah, because that's something, of course, we want to talk about that. But here, we'll get to it. So let us walk you all through the steps and process of how it actually happened, because we're tired of misinformation going around, and we don't want the kids talked about on the internet anymore. So let's just get it out. Let's just take it. The title of this video is Official Misconduct is Getting Completely Exposed. let us do it. Let us expose it. All right. To the best of our ability with respect to the children. So here we are showing you the receipts of the process that took place when the children were removed by DCS, not by the dads, not by anybody else in this world. They were removed by DCS under the allegations that we're about to read in this memorandum. Here comes the allegations. Hold your breath, guys. You're about to hear. When I first read this, I thought, holy shit, is this girl going to kill me while I'm sleeping or something? Because you're going awfully slow there, Nikki. Get to the facts. There we go. Mother and father are both biological parents. Okay, so let's move to the. There it is. There you go. So mother had committed domestic violence against her boyfriend at the time, punched him repeatedly in the face in front of the children, and pulled a butcher knife on him. Holy shit. Like, Tiff, we've been together for 4 years. If there's going to be street music one night, you're going to come out with butcher knives.
Don't worry, honey. I've got a roll of plastic in the basement,
I was going to say, I thought she graduated from butcher knives, Chris.
All right. Yeah. So here's the thing. If you all get to know Tiffany, then the allegations that you're reading are just like, they're laughable. Like, they're laughable. They smell like what William would make up. You know what I'm saying? And we have more to that too, but we may or may not talk about it. But these smell like allegations that are made up by people that have a personal vendetta that have no problem lying. Tiffany does not get angry and punch people or pull knives. Trust me. I've made her angry.
Yes, you have.
So now that we've gotten past the allegations, there was also they say that you're pulling butcher knives and punching dudes in the head. Like, I mean, come on. It also goes on to say that there were weapons involved. Tip, do you mind telling your audience a couple of the other allegations that had already been made against you at that point?
One of them was that I had sent heroin to school with a kid, and that the kid was busted with the heroin. And, that's the reason the report was coming in. But no child was ever busted with heroin. I never gave a child, drugs to take to school of any sort. And that was one of the reports where I was completely open to DCS. They came in, I even offered them to go check out the garage. I was like, you might go check the buckets back behind the garage. I don't know.
Did you think they might find body parts according to some of these false allegations that have been made? I mean, like some of the ones I've read, you would think that Tiffany was a serial killer. You know what I'm saying? Like lurking in the shadows, killing every boyfriend she's ever met.
Well, the allegations that have been put into the court, or not to the court, but to the DCS prior to the very last,
Yeah, the one that was against me, right?
It was crazy. So whenever I was complying with DCS, I gave them open access to every aspect. I was like, look through any cabinet you need, getting my washer and dryer. There's the garage, everything out back behind the garage.
How often were they doing this shit to you and the kids? DCS?
A lot. There were a couple of months where DCS had like 3 or 4 reports. So I was seeing them very frequently.
Well, when you and me went to the prosecutor in the most recent false allegations that went to DCS from, it's people that are chasing you around, right? We were able to establish in the room with the prosecutor 21 reports against you.
21.
And
that was from 2018 until what? I think
we were at 22 at the time. So 18 to 22. Now look, so there you go, guys. This is how
Wait a minute. How can it be 22 when this was actually filed on January 7th of 2021?
because
they never
they've
stopped
been
with
going
false
on.
reports.
No, Nikki, you're confusing one case with 22 different ones. Okay, what we're saying is that someone, we know who it is. We're being sarcastic. Someone uses Department of Child Services as a weapon against Tiffany, and has throughout the child's lifetimes been making these false calls. Most of them, all of them, have been unsubstantiated, other than the one we got on the screen. You can leave it up there. We got one on the screen. So the one on the screen was the one that Tiffany did, in fact, actually deal with. They substantiated it. And I'll tell you what happened the day they substantiated it. This is what happened. Tiffany was tired of them going through her cabinets over and over and over. Tiffany was tired of receiving all of these unsubstantiated calls over and over and over. And she got a manager's phone number to the Department of Child Services who said, yes, we believe that the program is being weaponized against you. Here's my phone number. I'm a manager. You can call me if we show up again because I'm up to par on this. We got a high turnover rate. Just call my cell phone. Tiffany went to call the cell phone when the Department of Child Services caseworkers were on her doorstep. She told them she was going to call. They left, and they put it on the report, which we can provide that too. They put it on the report that they believe the allegations that they were there for are true because she didn't let them in.
Yeah, because I didn't comply.
No, you don't need to, and that's what I was going to say is you don't actually have to talk to them at all, right? Until the court gets involved with DCS, whichever, they have no authority of their own right. So,
right.
I know that, like I said, I've been through custody battles and I've been divorced, and I had an ex who coordinated with other people and weaponized an attack against me. And that the advice straight from my lawyer, which I actually ignored, but was don't talk to those people. You don't need to talk to them at all.
Now imagine yourself a caseworker with a bad attitude and an issue with your ego, right? Mm-hmm. And you know that within your power, you have a report in front of you that you can write something on that report to retaliate against the person that just said fuck you to them, right? That's how he took it.
One thing I want to throw in real quick is you can deny, speaking to DCS and all of that. But the place where they get you is when your children go to public school. They'll go to public school and they will rip your kids out of school, and they can have them for a certain amount of time before they have to file anything with the courts. As long as, the FCM, the family case manager, puts on her paper that she believes the allegations to be true and that the child is in imminent harm, then they can take your kids and they can do it that way.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. They can do that.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So they can exercise authority over you, just like any other form of government. But you know what you're dealing with. I mean, the people in this genre, the people that are watching this right now, they know what they're dealing with when they stand up to tyrannical government, right? So
ultimately, they are a civil agency. They are not.
They're an arm. They're a branch. They're an arm. They have authority that's given to them. What I'm trying to say, Tiff, is that when you exercise your rights against these people, don't be surprised when they exercise their authority over you. Absolutely. I don't want to misconstrue people into thinking that, just because they're a civil agency and they don't have the legal power, don't think for a minute that you won't get a pissy caseworker that'll do everything within their power. And they will.
And actually, to this point, though, they can go to the school is actually why I ignored my lawyer's advice and went and talked to them anyways, because I didn't want them going and making a spectacle at the school. And he told me I'm the only client he's ever had who talked to them and made it better. Yeah. So, I mean, do with that what you want. Either way, it's an uncomfortable position for any parent to be put in.
And it's a minority of success rate. So the thing we've always told everybody that has talked to Tiffany or us, or both of us together about this, is that once they knock on your door, that's when the shit's already started. You are already balls deep when the knock comes to your door.
Well, you got to think when that knock comes at the door, you've already been assigned a number through their system, and so have your children. Like you're being tracked from that point.
Right. And so let's talk. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say real quick to be clear, the only, and probably the only reason that I was successful when I talked to them is because I walked in with printed off the interaction between my ex and the people she had been coordinating with. So it was, I don't want to give people the wrong impression that it's just easy. Oh, you can just explain it and make them go away.
Right. It's not easy. Right.
Well, I'm happy it worked in your case because they would not take mine. I
Really?
had similar. Yeah, they refused to take it. I think
So
at that
let's
point, they'd already made up their mind and they was shutting me down at every turn.
Yeah, let's talk about the records, Tiff. They indicate that they already made a decision while at your doorstep that day.
Mhm.
It says on the paperwork that they believe the allegation. Remember what Tiffany said. If a caseworker says they believe it, that's all it takes to do a removal. So there it was. They wrote on their paper they believed it. They said the reason why is because she wasn't complying. And all she was trying to do, mind you, was call the manager. That was it. So they jumped the gun. They went and removed the kids. Now, we are talking about the case where Tiffany went from 100% custody to losing her kids. This is the case that everyone's curious about. Toby, I saw what you said in the comments. We're not talking about Tiffany's children. We're talking about the case that people have misinformation about. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, and I'm actually hoping that this can squash the whole thing because I don't want this to continue. And I feel like by not addressing it, that it is allowing it to continue.
It's going on for 2 years now by not addressing it.
Over any of these records, these are pertaining to children.
Now,
why are people still going over these? You are not hurting me because I really don't care what you say about me. Like all of the people that's out there lying about me, I don't care what you say about me. But I do, however, care that it is bringing attention, unwanted, unneeded, unwarranted attention to my children, and it needs to stop.
It does need to stop. Tennessee Transparency News of $5. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for that $5.
Thank you so very much.
Nikki, if you'll keep scrolling, please. Let's talk about the DCS case. Let's talk about the case that everyone is saying that you lost your kids and it was DCS that ripped them out of your hands. They got half of it right, but we're going to make sure they understand all of it. Yes, DCS came in on these false allegations and removed the children, but that is not who is in control of the children. And why? Nikki, if you'll scroll, please. Is Nikki still with us? There you go. There you go. Go to the page where the decision was made. Now, there should be a section that I zoomed in on that explains the facts. There we go. You're in it now. Go back. The one that says discussion. Here, let me look at my notes because it's 15 seconds behind from where you're in real time. Yeah, here it is. Go to discussion and decision. There it is. Can you blow that up? Like make it full screen? You'll see here in the fact finding that what they concluded was that all of this was based on nothing more than the feelings of a caseworker. It literally says in these findings that there were no, not some, not a few, not one, no facts to support the allegations. None. You can scroll a little down there, Nikki.
Okay, so hang on.
Right,
go just a smidge slower.
Right there it says no facts. None. Here, I'll read this part. I'm holding it in my hand.
Okay.
The findings are clearly erroneous when there are no facts on the record to support them. That's the line. That's what it says in this. This is in the decision. That it is clearly erroneous when there are no facts to support the state court's decision. Now, remember, guys, this is an appeal. This is where Tiffany beat the state when they were making allegations against her with her kids. Go ahead, Tiff, with what you were going to say.
Well, the thing I was going to point out is in the appeal, it shows the progression of how many times DCS changed the narrative while we were going through the DCS case. And the reason why they changed the narrative is everything that they presented to the court, I went on ahead and I took an assessment to go ahead and, correct that, narrative that they had entered into the court. So they had to keep changing their narrative.
Because you kept passing every test that they offered.
That's correct.
So here's how they went. It started out by saying that you were this crazy, abusive, domestic violence nut job, pulling knives and throwing punches.
Then they went to me being mentally unstable.
Right. And then it went to you not knowing how to parent.
And then somewhere along the lines, it was thrown in that I had drug issues. So
right, drug issues were thrown in. So in other words, this
assessment for every single one of those allegations.
This went on for over a year. It was an allegation, and then proof on our part with court proceedings, and then they would change the narrative again, and then court again, more proof, and then they would change the narrative again. They did this like 4 times, right, Tiff? Or was there more or less?
No, it was 4. Because
and meanwhile,
I ended up taking.
Meanwhile, they're all up in your butt. Like they were drug testing 5 or 6 times a week. They're like fucking asking me all these questions about my lifestyle and where I work and how long I've lived where I have. They're just digging for anything and everything. Can I tell them?
Exhausting. It
is. Tiff, do you care if I tell them why they freaked out that day in that meeting we should have recorded? It's record.
Have I talked about it before?
I don't know. I don't always hear everything that you do. It's on record.
Man, don't tease us like this.
Okay, go ahead. And if I have a problem with it, I'll just stop you.
Yeah, no, I think we're safe with this.
Okay.
So there is a law for DCS that they cannot place a child with a person who has recently committed a violent crime. And William had just committed an assault and battery. So when they had taken his kid from Tiffany to temporarily place with him, that was something that Tiffany brought up. She said, you can't place her with him. He just committed a violent offense and was found guilty of it. That's illegal on your part. You can't do it. So what we think, this is what Tiffany and I think. We think when we pointed that out, they went, oh shit, we're screwed. We screwed up. And then they just went double down, balls to the wall.
Yeah.
They removed the daughter from the Tins case, right? That's why they did that, because they needed to get out of it.
That makes a lot of sense to me. That's been my experience with enforcement agencies is when they screw up, they try to bury you instead of getting caught in it.
Exactly. That's why one of the main reasons I wanted you on this panel tonight, Flo, or we did, was because I don't know if you meant to or not. I know you didn't mean to. There's no way you could have unless you're ESP. But one of the things you said in response to coulda, shoulda, woulda time that they were playing on that panel, you said it could have been corrupt government.
Right.
You were right. That's exactly what it was. It was they made a mistake. Now, in my opinion, corrupt means money, but I also see that the average definition of corruption being fitted as well. So under the Webster dictionary of the word corruption, I would say that in Tiffany's DCS case, corruption was very real. It was because they made a huge mistake, a very much illegal mistake in the placement that they had already made. So they removed her, they removed the daughter from this case immediately. And it happened the very next day from our meeting.
Yeah.
Where that's what we pointed out in the meeting, right?
Yeah.
Very next day.
Yeah, okay. I'm with you. That makes a ton of sense. And I would expect that. Yeah, if you catch an enforcement agency with their pants down, you be careful with what you do with that information. Like, that's all.
Look
I'll
at where
say,
you're at saying that.
right? Because I know that I got, and for those who don't know, I got raided in 2017 on a drug search warrant, and the raid was not unsuccessful, but it was definitely they found a little bit of drugs, but they had to use a blowtorch to cut open my safe to do it, which was not listed on the search warrant and is really in the dark gray area of what's legal. And since they went to those lengths, and they came up relatively shorthanded, they just kept coming back and coming back and coming back.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's it's kind of government MO. You know, when they make a mistake, they try to correct it by doubling down.
Yeah,
well, that's what they did.
Yeah, they'd already seized all my personal assets, stolen my cash. My cash didn't even make it onto the evidence list, of course. But
double down.
Yeah, we're like, well, shoot, we better. Who gets raided 3 times in 1 month?
Jesus, man!
I was still in jail during one of the raids.
Holy smokes! Yeah, we're no strangers to that kind of stuff being knowledge of ours running these
YouTube
channels.
It never surprises me, but at the same time, I get the kind of like, what?
Yeah, every time you're kind of shocked, but you're not surprised. I know, it's crazy.
And you're like, okay, well, I'll just add that to the tally of,
Government's fucked up, Tally.
Yeah.
The government is fucked up. All right, let's get to the end of this thing. Let's get to the end of this case. You all see that on the screen? Put a 1 in chat if you see the ending of the case where Tiffany was accused of something by DCS, which that's why they removed her kids from DCS for the DCS case. Do you see the answer to that? Put a 1 in chat if you see. Because the evidence does not support the trial court's decision finding, we reversed the judgment. Reversed. All of the allegations that were made against Tiffany that gave the state the power to pull her kids away from her when she had 100% custody was reversed. It was reversed. So you cannot, with good faith, come on any of these YouTube channels and say that Tiffany lost her kids to the allegations that were made against her by DCS, because that will be a lie. And I'm talking to you, Todd. You're a fucking liar. DCS did not establish the case against her. It was reversed. Now, I got a trick question for you guys. Put a 1 in chat if you think that reversed, if she had 100% custody of her kids, it was DCS that removed them. Put a 1 in chat if you think when the appeal courts say reverse what we did, that would put her kids right back into her hands. 1 in chat if you think that's how it works. It should. Not many people are voting because they don't want it. They're like, hang on a minute. We know the government's not fair, but it should. Like, I'm asking you, put a 1 in chat if you believe it should have reversed everything.
What reversed means, whenever you look it up on the appellate court site, is it means restored to what it originally was.
So the answer to the question is a yes. You were supposed to get everything restored. So wherever you were the day they entered your life is where they're supposed to put you back to. That is the right answer. You all who put a 1 in chat, you were correct. I said it was going to be a trick question. It was. You're right. It was supposed to be restored. So legally, by law, Tiffany, by law, was given 100% custody back the day this appeal was done. That is a fact. Now, what we are dealing with is more tricky. What we are dealing with is a state court who has been fighting us on restoring that 100% custody back by abusing the family courts. Now we're going to get into that separation. They've been abusing the family courts process to try to keep Tiffany from getting 100%. Not that she doesn't have custody rights. Everything changed the day that appeal was done. So all the narrative that everyone's spinning, saying Tiffany don't see her kids, that DCS makes it supervised visits, all that shit was temporary. She beat it. It's not what it is today. It's different today. But there is problems that the kids don't deserve to be aired out on YouTube. But what we can say is those family court proceedings, we are spending a lot of money and we are fighting for Tiffany to get restored as she should be, because that is how the legal system works. When you're done wrong, it might take you years, but you have to keep going to court. You have to keep proving your case. You have to keep paying your attorneys. You have to keep fighting, especially when it's for your kids. So, you know, it does not help Tiffany when she's going through that process by herself, or at least with me. You know, she doesn't share this stuff because she doesn't talk about her kids on YouTube. She's really dealing with that as a mother and trying to get put back to whole, right? And what she doesn't need is a bunch of people letting some fat slob loser like Todd, who pukes in his beard every morning and walks around in public that way.
What did I say backstage before we started this?
That his beard probably smells as bad as it looks.
Todd looks like his beard smells bad.
Dude, he had literally vomited in it and then came to my court hearing.
Yeah.
Like there's no doubt that was vomit in his beard. It was disgusting.
It was chunks of something.
Mm-hmm.
And
it
you want to know
smelled.
why we wouldn't look at him? It's, well, we didn't want to puke on the way into court or on the way out.
But you know, these people have not just interfered by talking nonsense about the kids' cases on YouTube, but they've also, many of you probably already knew this, Scarborough and Todd, and Kaiser did it too, are trying to come to her kids' private hearings as she goes through this family court process.
Yeah, Todd's saying that he's there for support, but I'm not for sure who he's supporting. Like, he wasn't involved when it began, and he definitely shouldn't be a part of it now unless he's dating my ex-husband. I don't know, maybe. I'm not for sure. I'm not for sure their angle or where he thinks he fits into this dynamic, but he does not.
This is not a state case. Tiffany beat the state case. This is not public hearings. There is no business of some 55-year-old basement dwelling, wife mooching, cute beard loser and some corrupt public official, low-level public official inbred. They have no reason to be stalking Tiffany's children. That needs to stop.
I think in their messed up mind, they think that they're stalking me. But whenever they go and share this information with their fans, their followers, their whatever you would like to call them, they're ultimately still bringing my children to the public eye, because that's what this case is about. I mean, If they want to stalk me and they want to follow me, just continue doing what you guys are doing over in Mead, which I don't appreciate that either, but at least get off my kids, you know? Like, they're none of your business. I don't want them shared. I don't even want it talked about. And I don't even understand why one of the fathers is condoning this and actually promoting it behind the scenes. That is freaking mind-blowing to me.
Billy has been going specifically to channels like Christopher Ruff and saying, please help me have your audience stalk my daughter. That's what he's doing.
That's not how he says it, but that's ultimately what's happening.
That's what he's doing. He's in the chat saying, bro, I need your help. I need your audience. And then he says, I got some shit to share with you privately. And then next thing we know, Ruff has got him up on panel, and Ruff's got people coming to our hearings. Like, what the fuck?
That's wild.
So one thing that I do want to address is the comment that I seen earlier. Whenever somebody said that I signed my rights away.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I did enter into an agreement with one of my children. That agreement came about after I told my attorney for a week straight, I am not agreeing to do that. I am absolutely not agreeing to do that. So they got me in court, and it was the DCS attorney, it was my attorney, and it was the judge. And that is exactly what was pressured for me to do. It didn't seem like I had any other option because that's what they were all screaming for me to do. And my attorney told me, the attorney I had at the time, she was a paid-for attorney. She said, don't worry. She was like, trust me on this. She's like, we will get this fixed. We will get this changed. And I caved, and I did sign an agreement on one of my children, but it was under duress. I had the judge, I had the DCS attorney, and I had my attorney. And then I also had my attorney reassuring me that it would only be temporary, that, you know, we would get it resolved. We would get my custody restored as soon as everything was over.
She said, as soon as you win this DCS case that's been lodged against you, we're going to fix this, no problem. That's what she told us. And all it was, look, let me tell you all what it really boiled down to. DCS realized that they fucked up when they put a child with a person who had just been convicted of a violent crime. They knew they fucked up. So within a couple of days, they were asking the judge to remove the daughter from the case. And to do that, they needed to establish something that didn't look bad on them, because if Tiffany just got her daughter back, it was going to look bad on them, because they needed a case against Tiffany. They'd already said she was mental. They said that she was a domestic abuser. They said that she was on drugs. They said all these things about her. So the last thing DCS could afford to do in the middle of a case that they had against her was give her daughter back. So they put a ton of pressure. And if I recall, I think what they were saying was, if you didn't sign that document to allow William to caretake her, that y'all were both going to lose your daughter. That was the way I understood it.
They said that there was a possibility of that.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it felt to me. And I was just, the guy on the side, like I was going, holy shit, put myself in your shoes thinking, they're threatening to take your kid away from both of you in this matter if you don't sign that paper. Now, I didn't offer any advice on Tiffany's decision on that because it was too heavy for me. She had to make a choice. And, honey, when you say that you felt like you were under duress, I can only imagine how much duress you were under in that moment, because I felt it, and it wasn't even involving me.
Because the whole situation, like throughout the entire DCS process, I was still having to go to 2 separate custody court cases. And then I was having to go to 2 separate DCS cases, because you remember how I told you that it was original jurisdiction? Like, I have the papers showing that both cases were entered on the same, case number, the same cause number. Then it was split up into 2. So the original jurisdiction would have been that primary case. Then they split it off into 2. So when they split it off into 2, I was having to go to 4 different court hearings.
We were so confused when they gave you another case number. Excuse me. When they gave you that extra case number, we were like, what the hell did they do? Like, how does this work? And later we realized what they had done was they had made it look like the first case didn't exist, and that they only took 1 case against your son. So
I think what you're talking about is, I think one of the custody cases, the number changed. I'll have to double check on that, because that isn't something that I've put at the forefront of my knowledge for the cases right now. So
I know it got awfully confusing, because when they forced you to do what you ended up doing, unfortunately, with your daughter's case, they added another number, another case number, and it was just like overwhelming. You know what? It was overwhelming. Like all of the court proceedings that they had on you while you were going through
And
DCS.
this is something that I had intended on sharing in segments. I was actually supposed to do my first one tonight, and then Todd decided that he was going to go and, do what he does best and involve my custody cases. So we ended up moving that. I think I'm going to try to do it tomorrow night, but that's what I was going to originally share, is to show the process and the steps that are involved with DCS and how cases are original jurisdiction and they get split up and, all of that good stuff.
So there you go, OMC only fans. The ones that only like it when OMC is doing her channel. She is going to be doing that on her channel.
Yes. Yep, that's still on. We just did a little bit of a flip-flop.
Yeah, this happened, and this is like, we've had enough. We've had enough of the misinformation, the dragging the children to YouTube, the fat 55-year-old slob puke bearders talking on their platform about your kids' cases with nothing but misinformation, no facts. Like, here you go.
He doesn't even know the process of the events that occurred. So I don't know why. I don't understand what he's doing.
He's not concerned with.
He sounds like an idiot when he's trying to explain it. And he sounds like an idiot because he is an idiot. He doesn't know anything about the facts that occurred.
He's not interested in facts.
Well, of course.
I mean, that's the only
He's only
conclusion I can draw
interested
after having talked to him, right? He's talking on things he doesn't know. He's
Yep.
pushing an agenda, regardless. If somebody was operating in good faith, and when I asked these questions, he would have adjusted his approach, not gotten mad and kicked me out for asking reasonable, logical questions.
Exactly.
Which brings us to two things. One, that's why we brought Flo up here tonight, because he didn't know anything about this case and
That's
was
right.
able to talk a little bit of sense on panel with Todd and his goons. And all of a sudden he's kicked off and thrown out. And that was completely unbiased on his part.
I'm
So
not
thank
just
you.
kicked off. He banned me. He blocked me in StreamYard. I'm done.
Jeez, yeah, you go against that narrative, man.
And before that, he did the same to Chuck in Tennessee, who was up there, having my back as well. So
Here's what you were doing. Let me tell you what you were doing wrong in Todd's eyes. You were being reasonable. You were asking reasonable questions using logic. You didn't have facts behind it. He didn't either. You just had information and understanding of a process, and you went, what you're spewing, Todd, does not make sense.
I didn't even make that claim at first. I was just asking questions. But, yep.
But whenever he was trying to explain it, because I caught like the last tiny bit, like right before I seen says, you've been blocked. I was like, he's just asking legit questions. These are questions that anybody who's trying to understand what is being explained is going to ask. And the only reason I knew that you knew what questions to ask is because you had said before somewhere that you had been through the process before. So I think something came up on one of your shows, one of your live streams. I think maybe not. I get my head full of so much information.
We watch a lot of YouTube.
I know what you mean. Finkel says, generally specific is mad at for public safety for the same reason as Kaiser. Official misconduct ignored their advances.
And that goes back to the comment of all little boys pick on the little girl who they love.
I would agree with that. Here's the thing, guys. Tiffany has always been a free woman. She's always made her own choices. Tiff, what did you happen to choose?
What, in life?
Are you happy with your current choice in life?
Well, yeah. I mean, I wish that past events would have went a little bit differently, but yeah, I'm good. I'm happy.
So are you trying to say that you're not interested in Todd?
Oh no.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
What about Wrangler?
You don't love little pointy feet?
No, I don't like little feet. I don't like little men with big egos, and I
Like 2
definitely
peg legs.
don't like troll-looking murder burglars. So,
How do you feel about Wrangler?
yeah, I just said it. Nope.
Is that
Literally,
it?
his I think it's his left eye is migrating south. I don't understand how that happens, but it is.
He's
migrating.
evolving.
What about him as a person, Tiff? Like, let's not be so superficial, right? Like, what's wrong with you?
Well, maybe I shouldn't be superficial, but I only
like
do
it.
that when we're talking about Wrangler. And
Double down.
Yeah. I mean,
What-
Todd's like a whole ass pirate
on.
on 2 peg legs with that nasty beard.
Oh, okay. If you could get past their looks, like if you could get past Chris being a skinhead, if you could get past, or a bony little skinhead, if you could get past Todd being a nasty, fat, puke beard, and if you could get past Wrangler and his floating eyeballs, if you could be non-superficial for once, Tiff, like, I don't know what you do with me. I didn't think I was that attractive. However, if you could just consider their personalities, can you go ahead and hash out the reason why you won't be with any of the three based on their personalities?
Well, they're assholes. They're assholes. They're selfish assholes who will take whatever they want whenever they want it at any cost. It doesn't matter who they hurt or who they murder. They're assholes. They are wastes of space.
So you're saying they don't stand a chance in hell?
No. I mean, even if they were flawless and absolutely gorgeous, like, no.
Are you happy with your current relationship?
Yeah, you can be a bit extra. We'll just say you can be a bit extra, but no.
It's not as if she's not picky,
How you put yourself in the crosshairs right there.
I did. I'm willing. Look,
you did, because even Toe for Life said that. Here it is. Toe for Life likes you better.
So here's my point. My point is that Tiffany is a very free woman. Nobody is forcing her to do anything. The notion that she has not made her own choices in who she likes and dislikes and what relationship she's in, that it's being forced on her, is ridiculous. Like, that's abusive in its own, not just to Tiffany, but to me and her together, and to our relationship. We are good. Me and Tiffany are great.
I don't need the blink twice if you need saved. I know some people put it up there to be funny, but I can promise you guys that I don't need to blink. If I'm ever in a situation that I need help out of, I have plenty of people that I will just call and be like, hey, come get me out of this situation. And be like, okay, when you want out? Oh, tomorrow. Okay. And I'm out. I'm good.
She's welcome. She's welcome to leave if she wants. It's always been that way.
It would be a lot cheaper for Chris. Like, if I was to just go, because I'm a DIYer and I do all kinds of projects. And then I have, ADD. So I have squirrel moments. I'll start a project, I'll get bored, and then I'll start another project. And then I get bored and I need another project. So yeah, I am not easy to live with, but all of my projects are cheap because, like one of them, I'll let you guys in on one of them that I'm doing. It's for my kiddo's leopard gecko. He needed a little bit of a bigger tank, and apparently they like to climb and stuff. So I use spray foam, and I'm etching out rocks that I'm going to put concrete over and paint it. So it's a lot cheaper than paying $100 for a background. So
she forgot to mention that she bought 3 stands and 2 different tanks, going through her process of elimination to finally accept the one project that she's going to ultimately end up with. So I think what she's referring.
I bought those back when I was working, so that's all.
True. But here's the thing that she's referencing it for. So you wonder about me and her and our knockdown, because in my history, you got allegations of me holding weapons to women's heads in front of children. In Tiffany's history, you got stabbing with knives and punching 6 times in the head while doing heroin. All these notions about who we were in our past are so ridiculous that you probably think, oh God, when these two fight, it's a knockdown drag out. But here's the truth. So we argue over the pettiest shit. Tiffany had a couple of projects going in the living room at the same time, which took up the whole living room for a month. And I am frustrated with the tanks all over the living room. And
now I know for
feel
a
you.
fact, that that argument happened because I was witness to it.
wait a minute, did you see the part where she stabbed me in the throat with a knife?
You got to join the membership to see that one. I hear.
Oh, that's right. Nikki's not a member.
That's pay-per-view. So
Yeah.
How about the part where I beat her in front of children? Did you see that?
Again, memberships.
Yeah, and I'm too poor to have a membership, but I can guarantee that you guys did argue about the project being all over the living room.
All
I
over it.
was witness to that.
Yep. And did it get out of control, the argument?
No, I kind of really quit paying attention because it was so boring. I mean, it's like me and Mr. Nicky, when, according to my grandson, when we argue, I asked him one day, how come you stay here when me and Papa argue? And he goes, because your arguments are like this, whatever, and it's done. So,
Look,
yeah.
mine are giving up. Like, I give up. You know what I'm saying? There was the one we actually had a knockdown drag out, like knife stabbing in the throat and beating in front of and weapons and all. We had one right before this panel because you see my office behind Tiff there? It's our shared office now, which is great. Like, I got no problem sharing with the woman I love. But she has rearranged that office 6 times in the past 2 months. And it's in the process of the 6th one right now. And what you're going to learn is that when we argue, my recoil is to say, all right, you're on your own.
It don't matter.
Finish it however you want.
Women somehow get the craziest super strength when they decide to rearrange.
Dude, I'm telling you, she walked out of that room this morning with an armoire that weighs like 300 pounds. She was shoving it down the hallway with little footsie things. And doing it quietly, not to wake me up.
It's all about the little peg things that you put under it, the flat slidey things.
She figured it out, bro.
My ex-wife, when she was pregnant, and she's 5'2", and not fat. She was like 7 months pregnant. Rearranged the whole ass house, everything on her own. I came home from work. It was wild.
But so that's the extent of our arguments. I'm just like, okay, whatever, you win.
And you know what? Katie, who I'm with now, she is a crafter too. I know I'm in trouble when she comes home and she's like, hey, let me get the keys to your truck, because she's found something on the fucking side of the road probably that she wants to finish or refinish or is whatever. We have so many end tables. Do you know how end end tables we have?
They're the best ones to redo.
Now, Tiff, you realize I just found someone to have my therapy with, right? Like, I can call Flo and be like, bro, she bought another fucking tank, like.
That's great, because I think I found somebody to share some DIY tricks and tips and hacks with. So
wait,
did the bromance just deepen?
I think it did, bro. You're gonna have to pay me some more, man. The price is going up the more we talk. But here's
I do
the
have
thing.
to pay. I got $10. I got to pay you.
Oh, you do? Yeah, for the horses, right? Now, thank your audience again for that. By the way, are they still watching?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you all so much for that.
I was going to say thank you guys over on Flo's channel, and over on ours, there's been a couple that have come through that we haven't got to even acknowledge.
Well, let's get to doing that. And then in the meantime, Tiff, I'm going to teach you how to do the goal thing from here on out, so that, because what we're doing with this, it's a goal that we need to try to achieve financially, and it is monthly. Like, we have a horse boarding bill that we cannot afford to pay for on our own. So we are humbly saying, if you guys want to help us keep the horses, we're going to be doing these goals on every live stream. And we kind of need to make around $200 a live stream to be able to afford the horses. That's pretty much where we're at.
All right. Well, Snapface gave $2 Australian for horse toothpaste.
I've seen that one. Thank you, Snapface.
Thank you, Snap.
Tennessee Transparency News. Family court equals cash for kids. In law school, they do teach attorneys to use CPS as a leverage weapon.
Mm.
CPS is corrupt, a scam to destroy families. CPS needs no warrant, is what they're taught. Toby Rohrer, God bless you, Tiffany. Anybody can see how much you love your children. I hope and pray you get them back soon. Tony Sweet, howdy y'all from New York City. And then there were a couple more. Dennis the Menace. And yeah, Dennis the Menace, you did a couple of them. Thank you. And that was $9.99 from Glock Loaded for the horseshoes.
Oh wow! Thank you, Glock.
Thank you, Glock.
They're
And-
unshot at the moment intentionally because we're not riding them in the winter. So, but man, those get expensive when we get back to riding. Those are like $400 a pop for us.
And then Jody Smith had a $4.99 super sticker.
Man, you all already like achieved our goal and more in this live stream. Like,
Thank you guys so very much.
I don't even know how to say how much that means to us that you all are willing to step up for this situation. Like, it sucks to ask, you know what I mean? And
I
look,
wasn't laughing.
There are probably ways. We could probably come up with some ways.
are you trying to wheel and deal now?
I'm just saying. The people can you do the floss? Do you know how to do the floss? People would probably love to see you do the floss.
I doubt they would like to see me do the floss flow. Don't forget, a lot of the people that are here are fans of Tiffany. I think around here you would get a lot more out of seeing Tiffany floss.
I bet you know what? You're probably right.
On your channel, the women love watching you do that wild shit. Teabag floss.
The twerk.
Tiffany,
Yes.
Is it okay if I answer Lenny Malley about my channel?
Absolutely.
Okay. Guys, I personally, I don't have my own channel. I don't put things out. However, I do have a channel. It is called We Will Hear You. Tiffany was my first guest. What that is it's where I listen as you tell your story, your truth, as you want it to be out there. It's not an interview, it's not an interrogation. You don't have to bring receipts, you don't have to bring proof. I just love hearing people's stories. So if anybody wants to find the link to that, the way to get a hold of me, if you want to be part of that, is to send an email to nofrillsmedia24@gmail.com, and we'll go ahead and get you scheduled, and we'll listen to your story.
Why don't you drop that as a link in the chat there too, Nikki?
Okay.
Nikki does
and then
a really good job, I want to say real quick. Like, whenever you go on and you talk to her about whatever it is you're wanting to share, she'll even get on there with you a little bit early. That way you can say, I need help with this, or, if I do this, then, help me stay on track, whatever you need. She does a great job at just helping you be comfortable in sharing what you want to share.
Yeah, the programs are great. I've seen a couple of them, and they're very impressive. I like the way you do the interviews.
You confused me for a second when you said programs. I was like, Nikki doesn't use programs.
They are programs, the interviews.
And then I was like, oh, he's talking about shows. I was like, doofus, it's a show, not a program. It's like, we're not talking about CBS here.
I want to address one of the other questions that were in the super chat. First of all, Leo Ford dropping 10 New Zealand dollars. Thank you very much for that, Leo.
Thank you very much.
You all are amazing. So I don't know who the question was from. It was within one of the super chats saying that they hope that you get your kids back soon. Thank you for that respectable question or respectable statement. I will say this. What is being misled on YouTube about the position that between Tiffany and her kids is not true. She is not without her children. Okay. But we will not be talking about that, the children's positions on any channels. Like, and I don't mean that like you did anything wrong by asking the question or making a statement. I just want all of you to know that the information that's been going out, acting like Tiffany never sees her kids, that's so far from the truth. Yeah. So don't go thinking that Tiffany doesn't like I know that's what you're being led to believe. That's not true. Now, is she still
I
going through a
want
hard?
to thank Michael Cabanas for the
Yes, that's what I was
$9.99
looking
super
for.
sticker.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, Michael.
I was trying to find it. I was over here scrolling.
Now, I'm not saying that Tiffany's not going through a lot still. So she still needs your support and prayers with her position with the kids. But it's not what was being alleged. That's not where we're at with it.
Tennessee Transparency says, again, with all due respect, if you haven't been through family court, frankly, you have no idea how it works and how corrupt it actually is.
Good one, Tennessee. I got another one based on that. Let me ask the panel this question. Do you all think that anyone who has not at least sat by someone's side going through that process, do you think that they should be using their YouTube channels to speak of the process? Start with Flo.
If it's not your process, absolutely not. I don't think that you should be speaking on other people's business, especially if you don't have any idea what's going on. Todd.
See, my take on it is it's family court processes are completely different from criminal cases. Does that make sense? I mean, criminal cases are completely open to the public. And anyone who tries to go to, like if you go to where I'm having my custody cases, they will look at you and say, if you're not a party to this case, you need to step out. It's not public. And I mean, custody cases can be open to the public, I guess, if the judge decides to do it that way. But the judges that I have in my cases make sure that it is not open to the public. And she does that for a reason. So,
yeah, on that, just recently when Scarborough and Kaiser and Todd tried to interfere, they were going to, we didn't have court, they ended up not having the session that day, but they were already told to not step into that room. Nikki, what's your take on it?
My take on it is anything that involves a minor child needs to stay off of the YouTube streets, period.
Yep.
Whether it's your child, whether it's Tiffany's child, it doesn't matter. Now, mentioning a story in passing like I did about my grandchild, that is different. But actually, something that is dragging a child through a court process just doesn't even need to be touched, period.
exactly.
And my take is first of all, if you have not gone through it, at least like for me, it was gone through it sitting next to Tiffany. Like I experienced and witnessed her entire process through this so far. And I'm going to tell you right now, it is a fucking complicated, way more complicated than any public case that you could think of. Way more complicated. You will not get the facts right trying to do it from another place, unless you're sitting there through the whole thing and you're getting documentation, which you can't because it's not public, it's for children. You will not get it right. Therefore, for that reason alone, you should not be trying to dissect a custody case on YouTube. Second of all, what in the fuck is wrong with people, these adults who don't know what they're talking about, thinking that it's appropriate to drag children into this? I can't think of any other word than vicious.
Well, it's because they want to publicly persecute me in some way, and that has ended up being their only resort. because they've tried every other avenue, and I don't have a criminal record that they can utilize. I have current pending charges, but I mean, Kaiser wore that out like a dead horse. I mean, oh, sorry, that was a bad.
A dead horse. There we go with the puns. Hey,
That
look,
was bad
according to
analogy.
this stream, the horses are going to survive. So we're going to keep our heads up on that. No more glue jokes.
Thank you guys very much for everything, by the way. But I mean, I think that this is their only thing that they've got left, because not anybody can request the child records. And they're hoping that people will assume that since they are in direct contact with my ex-husband, that they're getting the factual information. Well, you know what? Whenever somebody intends to attack and belittle somebody on the internet, and they use the internet as another means to, be a weapon against their ex, of course, they're not going to share the truth. Does that make sense to anybody? Like, if you were attacking your ex, would you give factual information to attack your ex? Or would you be like, okay, so here's this, and here's this, and this is all I'm sharing.
Oh, wait, are you saying that jilted lovers don't lie? No.
Yeah, they do all the time.
It's quite the conflict of interest.
Yeah, if you're going to take information from the ex, it better be an ex who's like really super cool. Like,
yeah,
and provides receipts, because I can assure you that the majority of that, look, Todd wants to be a betting man. You can put most of your money on that being a safe bet. You're going to get wrong information from the ex.
I thought Christians weren't supposed to gamble.
No, right? Yeah, there's a lot of things Todd does is very un-Christian of him. I'm starting to question if he's even Christian.
No, the thing is whenever Todd brings Christianity into a situation, he's not talking about himself. He's only talking about judging you with it.
That's right.
Oh.
And his little clip. Did y'all notice his new little clip for memberships? He's like the minion god, and all the little minions are coming in awe of him. Like, last I checked, you're supposed to be like, I don't know, maybe a 7 or above to be able to really pull off the narcissist card. Last I checked, Todd's like a 2. I'm not a very good judge of man.
Hey, don't you backpedal off that.
I'm getting ready to roll it on.
There may be some women out there that find having puke in your beard that looks disgusting to begin with without the puke being added, or having baby feet is attractive.
So Tiff was watching your stream flow where you were talking about your experience with Todd the other day, where you went back to your channel and was talking about it. And she says to me, you know what Todd is? I was like, what? She goes, who's that guy on King of the Hill that lost his shins and is like 3 foot tall? So we made a meme. It's Hank Hill's dad, Cotton Hill.
Cotton.
Yeah, the veteran that lost his legs and now he's 3 foot tall.
It was his shins.
Except Cotton Hill, like, you know what? Never mind. I'm not a vet, so I'm not even going to step in that shit show.
Thank you, Michael.
I got a better shit show to step in, Flo. Rate Todd on a 1 to 10, buddy. Let's hear it.
Hey, just because you made a gay comment doesn't mean I'm going to keep you company.
Listen, it's not gay if you vote 3. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I had said he's a 9, I could see why you'd look at me crooked,
Michael said this one is for Diesel. I'm cutting you off, Chris. Thank you very much.
Thank God I'm on a panel with my actual girlfriend.
Right?
All right, guys. So, Chris, you yourself have broken your rule. This has gone for 2 hours.
Holy smokes.
What's the rule?
It's not a rule. We just try to keep our panels at, like an hour.
Okay.
It's not a rule, though. Like, rules are made to be broken if it was. So,
absolutely. And if I had known about that rule before we started, I would have tried to I'm a habitual line crosser. It's compulsive. So
oh yeah, Flo, don't let me forget. Naomi, she's trying to get a hold of, or like get in contact with me.
Okay.
I think she's a mod on your channel.
Yeah, the official misconduct is click the name in the title. I've got it linked in the title.
And then, of course,
is
we
your
can provide
Discord
her
link
email.
in your channel yet? Is your Discord?
I didn't hear the beginning of
The
that
Discord
question.
link.
Yeah. Or
Yeah,
you can go over to Flows and do an invite.
y'all's asking me to do things I don't understand.
I know.
And now y'all are starting to realize why Tiff kind of likes to have my help when she does streams. There's a lot of things that I've barely learned that she's still not there
Could
yet.
you throw me
So-
full screen real quick?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're getting. Oops, hold on, let me remove that because I'm getting in my own way. Shout out to the snipers. Shout out to the snipers. If you're watching a snipe channel, don't forget to visit and watch all 4 of those channels right there.
Hell yeah. Come over to these channels and see what it is that the purpose that the content thieves would have. Like, we're super exciting enough that you're on a whole nother channel watching parts of what you could be getting all of on the real channel that produces it. Imagine that.
And
like, you're only cutting yourself short by watching it on the other channels,
Oh.
you know?
oops. And Chuck sent $2 in, and he says Todd wanted to date Chris, not Tiff.
Well, that explains a lot.
You know, I agree. I think you're right, Chuck. I've been saying this. I think Todd has the hots for me. Now, I think that for Chris Ruff, and I think that and it feels really awkward because I'm not gay. You know what I mean? But you're talking about, I mean, look at the behavior. Like, Todd wants me to not have a girlfriend. Now, make that make sense if he's not gay for me. He's angry that I have a girlfriend.
Well, you
Then,
know,
yeah.
according to Toe, if you don't make eye contact, it's not gay.
No, listen.
That sounds like some shit Todd would told you. Don't
I've
believe
always said that if you feel a whisker, it's definitely gay. So, like, I'm going to have to go against. Yeah, if you feel a whisker, it's got to be gay.
Good.
Now, Chris Ruff, I would think maybe Chris Ruff had the hots for Tiffany. However, once I learned about what all he does with his bum, and then you factor in,
You know what?
And listen, I have nothing against, gay relationships. It's just the thought of the specific ones we're talking about. That's not even it. Nope. It's gross.
Let Flo go with what he was.
When let's see, the first time I talked to Direct D back in the day, but the first time I talked to Chris Ruff, in recent times, he said the very first thing he told me is that he was, gonna come fuck me in the ass on his way to do the same thing to you. And I said, and then he tried to say he wasn't gay. Like, he realized I don't know. It's just,
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up because that was going to be my next
I'll be right back,
factor.
guys.
It was that, yeah, like literally, like Ruff came at Flo sideways in his.
Paused.
Am I paused?
Okay, yeah. No, I mean, maybe work on the phrasing. He didn't. Anyways, go ahead. Came at Flo. He didn't.
So
he went to attack her.
Thank you.
And his first notion to speak was to say, I'm going to travel. And on my way of travel, I'm going to screw you, Flo, and Chris. Like, what? How are we supposed to take that, bro? You know what I'm saying? You're coming here to have sex with me? I mean...
Don't come here looking for sex.
I ain't the type to fill a whisker. Listen, I ain't the type to fill a whisker, but that's not an excuse for Ruff being shaved bald from head to toe. Just because whiskers are a turn off, you know what I'm saying? Like, shaving it off and then doing it ain't gonna make it. Like, if I feel a stubble, that counts. You know what I'm saying?
You don't want to feel that stubble either.
No stubbles, right?
And on that fact, no, you know what?
Let's not.
I keep starting to say things and then thinking better of it.
Yeah. OMC cam down is because she stepped away for a minute.
Yeah.
So we don't have to worry about cam down being anything.
Yeah, she's just going to
actually outside smoking a cigarette with Chris. I can hear her in the background.
Right. Yeah, and I'm actually going to join her for the cigarette. So if you want to talk to her, she'll be here by voice. Yeah, but, I mean, this is a good time to start wrapping it up. As you said, Nikki, we're 2 hours in, and that's abnormal for us. I want people to be able to watch Flo's video of the original. I mean, all I can call the only thing I can think of to call it, Flo, is that you and Chuck from Tennessee just went into Todd's panel of goons and just dog walked them.
Actually, I had been sent a link that I was going to have Mickey play
Oh,
as
okay.
as we were working on exiting. So
Did you send it to Nikki?
yes,
Nikki Tiff saying that she, well, you heard her. Does she have a link sent to you there that you might be able to use?
Yep.
Oh, it looks like a good one.
And Plumpy, $2 more says drizzle, drizzle. Thank you for the drizzle, drizzle, Plumpy.
Yeah, I try to like Flo, and he just keeps letting me down. Kind of breaks my heart a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I bet he could be a really decent dude.
Flo, you broke my heart. I thought we were gonna be friends. I made us not yours. Guess I'll eat him myself.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I try to like.
Poor Todd. You know, he's never going to find a man.
That is courtesy of Dickbag Patrol.
All right, that was real good.
Get it, DP. Good one, bro.
That was real good.
Mods, if you'll link DP in there for us, please.
Yes, thank you.
Man,
Todd,
I tell you.
Todd, we can still be boys. You just have to stop lying and getting mad.
And I for me, Todd, you done fucked up, man. I don't want somebody like that in my life. So, you know, there's never going to be a man that is going to appreciate you as much as your wife does. So my suggestion is that you just stay with her. Stay in the basement. Stay under her thumb. Keep spending her money. She allows it.
Naomi says, but it's funny to watch him be mad at Flo.
It is funny.
You know
I
what?
like it for content.
Surprised. Was it Angry? Somebody earlier in the chat asked people to put a 4 if they saw me piss off Todd the other night, and there was only 6 4s, including mine. So I wonder if most people haven't even seen that.
Well, that's why what we're doing here. So we're going to redirect the audience. Okay. First of all, we're going to put the description of that video that you made, the one that Todd took down, your version of it. We're going to put the description or put the link to it in the description of this. And then, Flo, are you staying live on your channel now? And then maybe you could link your video there, or do you want to link it here? Like,
you go ahead and drop the link there. It's unlisted on my site, but I'm probably just going to make it public. And I am staying live, so you can send people over here. You're welcome to come over. And if people want, I mean, maybe I'll play a bit of it on my end. It depends on how quickly the panel fills up.
How about this? How about we let our channel vote right now? Put a 1 in chat if you'd be willing to roll over to Flo's and watch some of it there. And then at the end of watching it on Flo's, you can get the link and watch the whole thing whenever you got time. Put a 2 in chat if you don't have time or you're not interested. Now you get a proper vote, Flo.
Right. Put a 3
And
in
I'm
chat
not-
if you're just here for official misconduct and you don't care about the dudes talking.
They'd be surprised about all the females that talk on your side there, Flo.
I
get some interesting shit on your
will
panel.
say it goes everywhere.
Here comes the 3s.
There's
yeah, you can never offer that on OMC's channel, bro.
I know.
I should have pre-warned you.
Well, this was just my own check. I just was curious for myself.
Yeah, when it comes to OMC, like, she's got her people, man. No doubt.
That's my family.
Toe for Life Chronicles. Why do you think I don't like you?
Because Topher Life asked for ones in the chat if he's needed to go live on his Friday night rants.
Oh, we got panel competition. Damn these YouTube streets.
I got threes dropping on my side too.
And that's when he knew.
Too.
So this is when we should panel more often to have the clips, but we should drop the one that says, "And this is when he knew he fucked up."
Pickle Gang says Wingspan. That's right. Taking the pickle.
And since we're dropping all these promotions, I am going to go live tomorrow on my original channel, which is what I'm on right now, the real 4PS. I'm going to be doing a stream talking about, I'm going to expose some YouTube grift. So we'll do that on my channel tomorrow. But for those of you that want to go over to Flo's Mods, if you will drop Flo's link, please. And then I'm going to hop out of here, but you all stay up for just a minute longer and say your goodbyes, because I'm going to pass Nikki the link to your, or no, wait, you haven't published your full video yet, have you?
No, I haven't.
No, he has not.
But it's unlisted. You're welcome to drop. You're welcome to do whatever you want with the link. I'm not withholding it. It's already been streamed a couple different times, right? So,
well, why don't we just let them get it once it's public?
Okay.
It's up to you. I mean, I'm asking what you want to do.
Yeah, no. You just go ahead. I'm actually probably about to make it public right now, so you just go ahead and post it in the in the description box.
In the description. Okay, guys. So that's where you'll be able to find the video. We're talking about the static video version. You'll be able to find the full thing in the description of this video within 24 hours after we're done here. So don't forget about that. Come back and get it and watch that video. And for now, you can either go to our great buddy Toe's channel and watch him do some YouTube Screech stuff, or you can go over to Flo's, or you can tell us all to fuck off. Yeah, we can do. Yeah, YouTube.
I'm on the powdered dusty right now. Flow State got demonetized, and they keep denying my appeals, and so the powdered dusty is where I do most of my streaming now because I monetize there. So
there you go. Yep.
And I understand that thank dilemma. You to Alan Williams, gifted 5 official MissConduct memberships.
Man, y'all are amazing. Y'all are amazing.
Thank you all so very much.
It feels good to think that we might be able to keep the horses, because Tiff and I really don't want to let them go. Like, it's a tough.
But the rest of us who eat at Burger King want to. Those of us who eat at Burger King are looking forward to the horses.
Oh, and I saw someone ask if we mind doing streams with the horses. Absolutely, we will. We have no problem doing it. We enjoyed that. I think that'll be fun. What do you think, Tiff? We do some.
That's actually one of the things that you had talked about doing.
Yeah, I don't mind. Maybe once every couple of weeks doing a stream with them. I just have to be careful because there's a lot of people on JJ Scarborough's side who have been trying to locate our horses for some nefarious reason. Yeah. So we're going to be real careful to keep the privacy of where they're located. But I'm sure there's no doubt that I can find a way to live stream with them without giving away their location. And that, I got a final point I meant to bring up earlier during our discussion. So we've established that it's just inappropriate for YouTube channel owners to be sticking their noses into child custody cases on their channels. One thing that I don't want to be overlooked is that this public official, JJ Scarborough, this public official who pressed 13 false charges against me, this public official who openly says that the purpose he has of harassing me and Tiffany is because he's retaliating for us ever putting his buddy on the internet with a live stream where his buddy fucked up. That dude is promoting all over YouTube harassing Tiffany's children. Like, that shouldn't be overlooked.
Yeah, and there's another person who I would love to visit my channel if they want to say their side of the story, but I just don't feel like it's probably going to happen. But JJ, doors open. I have open panels regularly. I don't know why these people don't take up they get mad that I give you that I shared your story, but then refuse to take the exact same offer that I'm giving to them.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I've ever seen, you've been completely unbiased when it comes to an open door policy on their sides. You know, I really don't know why. I mean, I do. I think the only reason why I can consider that they refuse to do that with you, Flo, is because they don't have facts. They don't have receipts to provide. All they have is a bullshit narrative, and they're just going to get railroaded by you with reasonableness.
You know what? If you can railroad somebody with reasonableness, it's the best way to do it.
Right? Yeah.
Jamo, I don't think that he filed any of the complaints. The person that you asked about.
No, he promotes it.
Definitely participated and promoted and stuck his nose in the situation.
And not just his nose, he stuck his wallet in the situation, which is filled with taxpayer money. He has paid Tiffany's ex-husband countless money. Like, we don't even know how much of thousands of dollars JJ has given to Tiffany's ex-husband to take legal action against Tiffany. But we know it's at least $5,000, at least, and counting, for frivolous cases. So that's a fact. You know, we can prove that too. Well, you know what? We can always provide. It's easy to provide receipts when you're telling the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
that makes sense.
Toe for Life, I don't know if you're still in here. If you are, give me a thumbs up.
I don't like that guy.
He's a good friend of ours. Toe has been here with us since before we were YouTubers. Like when we wanted a platform to tell our story on, and we were like we discovered the 1A genre, right? Toe was one of the very first people to step up and say, look, I ain't got a big platform, but we love you here and we're your family if you need it.
And he opened his platform up completely. I mean, he tolerated like 3 days of hours worth of streaming with Chris before he even made it to me, which lasted, I think our stream was just 1 day. It was done pretty quick. But yeah, he completely opened up his platform to talk to us, ask questions, check out all the evidence. And he had all of the information. I think, no, he did have all of the information about the case before the courts even received it.
Yeah, Toe probably had at least 50% of our evidence.
Yep.
That we won our lawsuit on. And we, we didn't know shit about YouTube. Like, neither one of us, me or Tiffany, we didn't know shit about YouTube. As a matter of fact, I'm on the original channel that I started back then, which was my real name, Chris Ryder. Like, that's how dumb I was. I had no idea I was Chris Ryder coming into YouTube, not for public safety.
We love you too, Toe. But what I was going to tell you is I can get with you. I still have to confirm everything with Nikki, but I had hoped to do another stream tomorrow, starting at the same time. And then if you can do, something tomorrow night, like whenever we're wrapping ours up, we can redirect over to your channel tomorrow night, because I didn't know that you were doing a stream tonight. If that works, I'll just have to get with you guys after this, but maybe that could be a plan for tomorrow.
Yeah, so we got a big day for tomorrow then. I'm going to be doing an earlier live stream, like probably around 1, 2 o'clock. And then Tiff's got a DCS live stream, I believe. Right, Tiff? In the evening? Oh,
Nikki, are you okay to do it?
And I'm going to help Nikki. I'm going to help.
It helps
Tiff.
if I'm not muted. We need a thumbnail, Chris.
No problem.
So that we can schedule that. But yes, and it is going to be at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, and Tiffany will not be late.
There you go. That's how you got to do it.
Today.
You were on time today. Yes, ma'am.
Get around.
Let's try for 2 in a day. Let's try for 2 in a row now.
I support that.
Toe says that will work. He's not ready to stream tonight.
Perfect.
So
All right.
8:30 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow here on Official Misconduct. We will be getting back to the things that Tiffany wanted to do today rather than it got interrupted.
Yep. It wasn't interrupted. It was just sort of a flip-flop.
Yeah, we knew we needed to do this as soon as it, as soon as it happened.
But yeah, everything I said I was originally going to discuss tonight, that will be tomorrow night. So if you guys want to hear about basically the origination of DCS, what they were created to do, and then learn a little bit about the basics, that's what we'll be doing tomorrow night.
Well, that's stuff everybody needs to know too. Man, people
Yes,
need to
AJ.
learn that whole thing. All right, so for now, what we're going to do is we're going to direct all of you over to the Powdered Dusty, and we're going to let Flo continue to entertain you guys tonight.
And I will open the panel up if people want to join. I did drop a StreamYard link backstage. If any of you want to join, of course, you're invited as well.
I'll be over there.
I was going to say Chris will definitely be over there. And I'll definitely be in the comment section.
We need to complain about you and Katie bringing home junk furniture from the side of the road to polish up into something.
That'll be like a whole, we should do a whole stream on that, Flo.
It's what we do. We take things that are ugly and destroyed and we make them beautiful again.
I will provide receipts, bro.
But you guys,
I'll
that
show
would be
you
an
some pictures.
all-day panel.
No pun intended, guys.
I may need to start a whole new channel and make a support group for dudes whose houses are cluttered with end tables they found on the side of the road.
That would be a successful channel.
Multi-million. Yeah, you will have more subscribers than all of us put together.
And then that can, go hand in hand with the channel that I want to do, or the section that I'd like to do on my channel about DIYs. So
there you go.
You know what? I could start the new channel, and then y'all could just take over that channel and crowd it with your DIY shit. And
we'll make it better. We'll just improve.
Right.
Exactly. The narrative. The narrative is the truth. All right. Well, let's everybody go over and hang out with Powdered Dusty for a while.
For public safety, let's go hang out with him over there.
It's habitual. Let's do it. So
I was gonna take off and let you shut down. Thank you for having me up. It's good talking to you guys. Salute to the chat, and I look forward to talking to people like now.
Always a pleasure to be on panel with you, Flo.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. All right, guys.
Tiff, I'm going to step out and give you the big screen to say whatever you want to say to your audience. But I want to say, man, y'all have no idea how much it means to us that you support us and help us out through these hard times. Like, I know that sounds grifty, but I truly mean it from the bottom of my heart. I love our horses, and it really is the position that we're in, is that if we don't have a little boost on income until we get through some of this shit, I mean, it's going to be 2 more months before we get a regular income going in again. And
I want to point out that wouldn't even be the situation right now if, idiots hadn't done what they did.
For no reason.
The other channel.
For no reason. I mean, as you all know, I did not participate in any shape or form of using a channel on YouTube for pornography. Like, that will never happen. But yeah, I mean, it sucks. It sucks more financially than it does any other way, because it's not like we're gone, Tiff. They can't, these hits don't take us away. They just damage us,
We'll come back just like we always do.
We're right here.
You know what I mean? Like, recover from that. Of course, we didn't go anywhere. We're still right here, but it's just the recovery of it.
When they were trying to belittle us, Tiff, on Todd's channel the other night, they were trying to belittle us.
I was like, man, which one?
Right, all the time. But on that particular channel, they were trying to belittle us by saying, man, these two dumbasses just won't give up. And I thought, what a compliment that they just made, thinking they were belittling us. That's right. We won't fucking give up. You're not going to get rid of us. We're not going to go away. We're going to continue to stand for what's right. Fucking standing for it. We stand on our shit, and nobody's going to knock us down. Anyway, on that note, I love you, Tiff. You're doing a great job. Much appreciated. Chat, you all are freaking amazing support. Love you all so much, and I will see you on the flip side.
Love you. See you over on the Powdered Dusty.
Bye.
All right, guys. So just one more quick time. Tomorrow we will be doing another stream at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. And right now, I guess we are headed over to the Powdered Dusty. That way we can watch some of what he has. Yes, dear.
Make sure you tell Nikki how much we appreciate all of her help.
I hadn't gotten there yet, but yes. Nikki, now that he's interrupted my train of thought. See, whenever I'm like saying things, I have to pre-think them. That way I don't stumble over my words. And when he comes in here, he messes that up. So yeah, Nikki, of course, you know we love you. You know that you do an awesome job, or at least I hope you know it. If not, then you definitely know it now. You do an awesome job in helping get everything situated and organized and put up on the screen. And you are amazing at that.
Well,
wouldn't be able to do what we're doing right now without your help.
Like I said, thank you. I do want to go ahead and take this time and just thank everybody for being here and supporting OMC.
Yes.
And we do look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow for our regularly scheduled show, stream, whatever you want to call it.
Regularly scheduled delayed.
Okay. And then we look forward to seeing you guys all then tomorrow, whatever you want to say. But thank you guys for the support of OMC, and we will see you later.
Love you guys.